Out on Pat, that's AJ.
It's 8:19. It's going to be cloudy today. Slight chance of a shower. Highs near 75.
Okay, joining us now in studio. I didn't even grab your last name. Harmony, what is your last name?
Lloyd.
How you doing?
Harmony Lloyd.
Harmony Lloyd?
Hi.
Sounds like a radio name. We have Harmony Lloyd in studio, and she has a very unique story, and it's a story that I think some of us have heard about, but as we were just talking off the air, sometimes it's optics, it's not in my backyard kind of thing.
And this is why we wanted to have Harmony in for Local Spotlight today.
Yes. So, Harmony, you are a mother of a child who's in the Blanc school system, and you had an experience that has led you down a very interesting road. So will you tell us what your son came home one day and told you?
Sure. He came home and said that a student that he was in line with, in the lunch line, had gotten up to the end to pay for his lunch, and the cafeteria worker said, "You don't have any money in your account," and took the tray out of his hand and threw it away.
Okay.
In front of all his friends.
Oh.
And so your son basically was saying, "Mom, can you give me money so I can take care of my buddy?"
Right, and also to make sure he didn't run out of money because he was afraid that would happen to him.
So now he's traumatized thinking, oh no, what if I go up there with my card and I don't have the money and they throw my lunch out?
Absolutely, and he said, him and his friend said to the other kid, "We'll buy you stuff, we'll buy you something," and the kid was like, "No, just forget it, it's fine." And,
Sure.
Just so embarrassed, I'm sure.
So embarrassed.
And that is something like, well, we were just talking about off the air here, but I've always said our country is more divided up economically than anything else. You can lie and cry all you want about race or political. Trust me, it is economics 101. So stuff like this, to me growing up, I went to school in the city of Chicago. I remember this happening a lot. There were a lot of kids who did not have lunch money, and lunch ladies, I'll be honest, they would work with us. They'd say, all right, they take care of you. But you actually called the school to find out that is not the case. They will actually, because you didn't believe this. You thought, maybe he's being a little
Maybe
dramatic.
it was a one-time thing.
Well, dramatic, right?
Right. It's middle school, so you want to verify. So
Trust, but verify. Yes.
Right. And so I started making some calls first to cafeteria workers and asked, and they said absolutely, it happens all the time. And I know you commented on economically divided, but what we found is that kids who qualify for free lunch are mostly already put in the free lunch program.
Sure, yeah.
It's kids that fall just above that, so it's that working parent
Yes.
that is stretching paycheck to paycheck and maybe didn't have the money to put into the account for another 2 days.
I was going to say, that's a big thing, where, a lot of us, sometimes you lose sight of that, but I remember being there when you were, this got to wait till payday, that's got to wait till payday. And imagine it's food that has to wait till payday.
At school.
Okay, so listen, we're going to find out exactly what Harmony did in response to this. What do you do when your child comes home with a story like this? Well, you be the change. More next. Cars 108. It's Cars 108, 80s, 90s, and now I'm Pat, that's AJ.
It's 8:25, cloudy today, only a 20% chance of showers, highs near 75.
All right, Harmony Lloyd is joining us in studio. We just heard the story of what happened when her son came home from school. He's a middle schooler in Blanc, and he said, "Man, one of my friends didn't have money for lunch, and they threw his lunch away." And well, Harmony, you did some digging. You found out that this is more common than most of us probably think or want to think.
Happens all over the state, all over the country.
Yeah, that there are kids who go into school, and we talk about that during the summer about sometimes.
Oh, these lunch programs for kids during the summer, because they're you forget there's a lot of kids that only eat at school.
Yeah.
And when they're out of school, they don't have food. That's just the way it is. So what I love about what you did, Harmony, is you went above and beyond just talking to the school. You are actually pushing for legislation to be passed so that this doesn't happen.
Tell us about it.
Right. So I realized as I did more research that there really needed to be a policy shift, and it wasn't because it was so much bigger than Blanc schools. It was about the kids that we needed to make people aware of this, make legislators aware of it. So I worked with Senator Jim Ananich, and we developed legislation. The state of New Mexico is the only other state that has this legislation.
Really?
This anti-lunch shaming idea. And I have to just continue to reinforce the idea this isn't about giving kids free lunches and not holding parents accountable.
Well, yeah, because
this is about keeping the issue between the parent and the school and keeping kids out of money issues that they have no control over.
And say that was something this doesn't, the child is going to be, like you said, this child had his lunch thrown away in front of him. That's an embarrassing thing.
Middle school's tough anyways.
Then you have, friends, that's going to scar them. So like we said, you could have, or
there has to be a
there's
better
a middle
way.
ground where you give a child a lunch, you deal with everything behind the scenes.
Kids got to eat in the middle of the. Can you imagine going your whole day without eating anything? I would be checked out right after lunch.
I didn't even think about this. This is really like a case of bringing an adult problem to a child.
Right. That's it. That's what you're doing, is you are asking a kid or telling a kid, your parents don't have money, and so I'm taking this from you. And it goes all the way down to elementary. We're talking about middle school, but they stamp the hand of first and second graders with a stamp that says, I need lunch money, and that child wears that all day long.
I've heard like some school districts do like wristbands and stuff like that.
There's school districts that put that actually make kids do chores in front of their friends, so they'll tell them, go wipe the lunch table off,
and like I said,
and then you can get fed. I mean, that's ludicrous.
Stuff like that will stick with you, and it's because
entire life.
I was so messed up as a kid during those like 5th, 6th, 7th grade years.
Middle school is very hard.
Stuff like that stayed with me. Little things that happened to me stayed with me the rest of my life.
Yes.
So where is this legislation in the process right now?
What's going on?
Where are you at?
So Senate Bill 1078 was introduced by Senator Ananich. Unfortunately, it's at the very end of the session. So we're about to have a whole new set of senators that will come in January.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to spread awareness, let people know that this is an issue, because it's one of the few issues that seems to have such strong bipartisan support. It doesn't matter what side you're on politically, you hear this and you say, we can fix this.
Listen,
this is an easy fix.
Low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
Well, I have always said we have much more in common than we have, than our differences. And like you said, who can't get behind making sure kids get lunches? Like, we want them to be the best students they can be.
So many people have come to me and said, start a GoFundMe or start something to raise money.
I was just going to ask, how can parents get involved?
Yes, right now we need to get the policy changed.
So that's a Band-Aid.
Donations are important, right, but it is a Band-Aid, so let's make sure they're handling it in the right way, and then we will start to raise money so they do have that additional fund, so that the cafeteria workers can be empowered to pay for a lunch when they're put in a situation where somebody doesn't have it. But there's some controls in place, so we can figure this out over the course of the next year, and we're going to get all these senators on board, and then we'll work with the Michigan House of Representatives, and it'll go to whoever the new governor is, and I have faith that whoever it is, they will sign it in.
That's an easy signature to
listen. Well, listen. Instead of Mr. Smith goes to Washington, it was Mrs. Lloyd goes to Lansing. She did not tweet about it. She did not yell at her next door neighbor about it.
She took action.
She actually got in touch with her local lawmaker, and now she's working to be the change. Amazing.
I did do all those other things, but I also work to be the
change. You also did.
It's a combination. Social media can be used for good.
Yes, it can.
Harmony, I got to tell you, this is a beautiful thing. I love what you're doing. Like you said, it's simply about seeing something and being part of the change. And we wish you the best of luck. Keep us updated. Let us know if we need to step on any new lawmakers next when they all get sworn in, or new governors.
Absolutely.
We will make some noise.
Thank you so much, Harmony, for coming in. We'll get this story up at WCRZ.com if you want to check it out. Video of the interview as well. 831 Cars 108.